On Monday Night Raw, the unthinkable happened. Paul Heyman, once the trusted Wiseman of Roman Reigns, delivered a verbal strike so savage, it sent shockwaves across the wrestling world. In front of a live crowd, he aligned with Seth Rollins' rising faction, unleashing an insult aimed directly at the Tribal Chief's throne. But that was only the beginning. With Roman Reigns absent, Seth Rollins has seized the spotlight. His new faction, powered by the brute strength of Braun Breaker and the unrelenting force of Bronson Reed, has begun a methodical takedown of the Bloodline Empire. And they aren't doing it quietly. The WWE Universe watched in horror as Bronson Reed launched a brutal, unapologetic assault, one that left Jey Uso broken and helpless. As Seth mocked Roman's disappearance, Paul Heyman looked into the camera and twisted the knife even deeper. Roman Reigns doesn't have the balls to come back, Rollins laughed. The OTC is MIA. And after tonight, Jey Uso will be MIA too. Those words echoed through the arena as Reed prepared a second tsunami, this time targeting Jey's lifeless body against the unforgiving steel steps. The audience rose to their feet when Solo Sikoa's music hit. But in a stunning betrayal, Tama Tonga and Hikuleo blocked Solo from intervening, silently choosing to let the assault continue. Raw went off the air in chaos. But this chaos was no accident. It was calculated. Sources backstage confirmed what fans had begun to fear: Paul Heyman isn't just managing Seth Rollins. He's orchestrating a psychological war against the Bloodline. Armed with years of insight into Roman's strengths and insecurities, Heyman is now using that knowledge to shatter the empire he helped build. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed has become the weapon of destruction. His rise has been swift, violent, and unrelenting. Taking out Jey Uso wasn't just an attack, it was a message. Inside Solo Sikoa's faction, fractures are now impossible to ignore. Tama Tonga's decision to let Jey suffer marks the beginning of a deeper divide. The vision of a united bloodline, already dimmed by Roman's absence, now teeters on the edge of collapse. And as for Roman Reigns? Reports suggest the Tribal Chief is seething. Insiders say he's watching everything, angry, betrayed, but waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For Roman, it's not just about revenge. It's about legacy. About whether to maintain his mythic status, or return and fight for what's left of his family. There's another twist. Behind the scenes, WWE Creative is quietly planning a major return, one that could tip the balance. A name has surfaced. A storm is brewing. Jacob Fatu. His return could be the equalizer Roman needs, or the final piece in Seth Rollins' deadly puzzle. As of this moment, the bloodline lies in ruins. Jey Uso is out. Solo's grip on power is slipping. Heyman has betrayed his former king. And the Tribal Chief's silence grows louder with every passing day. Social media is ablaze. #Where'sRoman is trending worldwide. The chessboard is set. The pieces are moving. And the next move belongs to Roman Reigns. Will he rise to defend his legacy? Or has Seth Rollins already won the war? Drop a comment below if you believe Roman will return with vengeance, or if this is truly the end of the empire he built. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because when Roman Reigns breaks his silence, the entire wrestling world will feel it. And you'll see it right here, first. What happens when the man Roman Reigns trusted more than family becomes the architect of his downfall? What happens when Paul Heyman, the Wiseman, the strategist, the voice, crosses the line from loyalty to betrayal? And what happens when Seth Rollins laughs in the face of the Tribal Chief's absence, as his new faction dismantles the bloodline piece by piece, live on national television? This isn't just another WWE rivalry. This is psychological warfare. And the battlefield? Is the soul of the bloodline itself. The WWE Universe is in stunned disbelief, because what happened on Raw wasn't just another beatdown. It was a message. And the message was clear. Roman Reigns is no longer in control. It started with whispers. Paul Heyman had been absent from SmackDown. Absent from Solo Sikoa's meetings. absent from anything bloodline-related in recent weeks. Then came the rumors. Was he negotiating behind Roman's back? Was he plotting with someone else? But no one, not even Roman himself, was prepared for what happened next. The lights dimmed on Monday Night Raw. And when they came back on, Jey Uso was in the ring, outnumbered. Seth Rollins, smug and glowing with newfound power, stood center stage. Flanking him were Braun Breaker, the freak athlete with zero remorse, and Bronson Reed, the walking apocalypse. The crowd was already tense. And then Paul Heyman walked out. Holding a microphone. Holding power. Holding betrayal. He didn't say a word at first. Just stared down the aisle. No smirk. No apology. No remorse. Just cold calculation. And Seth Rollins, grinning ear to ear, broke the silence. The Tribal Chief doesn't have the balls to come back and step up against us. The arena gasped. Then Paul Heyman leaned in and delivered the line that would send shockwaves through the WWE universe. The OTC is MIA, and after tonight, Jey Uso will be MIA too. And that was the cue. Bronson Reed stepped forward. And what followed wasn't just a beatdown, it was an execution. Jey Uso, cornered and already bruised, was hoisted into the air and slammed through the announce table with a thunderous tsunami splash. The impact was seismic. The crowd screamed. Medical staff ran down the ramp. And still, Seth Rollins laughed. But the most disturbing part? Paul Heyman never flinched. The same man who once kissed Roman Reigns' championships, who once bowed to the Samoan legacy of the bloodline, watched Jey Uso be demolished, and did absolutely nothing. As the dust settled, it looked like the carnage was over. But it wasn't. Because Bronson Reed wasn't finished. He dragged Jey's limp body toward the steel steps. The crowd begged him to stop. The commentators were yelling. Even the referee pleaded for mercy. And then, Solo Sikoa's music hit. But what happened next stunned the entire world. Tama Tonga and Hikuleo, Solo's own soldiers, stepped in front of him. They held him back. They didn't flinch. They didn't speak. They didn't move. They just stared. And Solo froze. The man who had promised to build a stronger bloodline suddenly realized he wasn't leading anything. He was trapped. Bronson Reed climbed the steps, positioned Jey Uso's body, and raised his arm again for the second tsunami, this time aimed straight at Jey's ribs and career. The show cut to black. That's how Monday Night Raw ended. But the story was just beginning. Behind the scenes, WWE insiders were scrambling. Backstage staff reported that Roman Reigns was watching the segment in real time from an undisclosed location. Some say he stormed out. Others claim he shattered a monitor with his bare hands. All we know for sure is this. Roman Reigns has been silent. And Paul Heyman? He's been pulling strings the entire time. For over 3 years, Heyman played the loyal Wiseman. He stood by Roman through war after war, from Edge to Brock Lesnar, from Cody Rhodes to Seth Rollins. But beneath that loyalty was calculation. Paul Heyman doesn't make emotional moves. He makes strategic plays. And this might be his boldest yet. Sources close to creative reveal this betrayal has been in the works for months. It began when Roman started taking more time off. He appeared less frequently. Delegated more to Solo. Gave Heyman fewer directives. And in Heyman's eyes, the Tribal Chief became replaceable. So he found a new champion. Not a tribal one, but a cunning one. Seth Rollins. Together, they began forming what insiders now call the MITB faction, a brutal collective of wrestlers handpicked by Heyman to fill every role the bloodline once filled. Seth Rollins, the architect. The face. The commander. Braun Breaker, the rising monster, replacing Roman's alpha presence. Bronson Reed, the demolition unit. A human wrecking ball designed to destroy bodies and morale alike. And Paul Heyman? He's the brain behind it all. On paper, it's brilliant. But in reality? It's psychological war against the man he once vowed to serve. Jey Uso's condition remains unknown. WWE officials say he suffered severe rib trauma and potential internal bleeding. He's been pulled from all upcoming events. Social media exploded within minutes. The hashtags #Where'sRoman and #HeymanBetrayal trended across every platform. Fans demanded answers. Commentators were speechless. Even Michael Cole, known for his professionalism, called Heyman's move the most disgusting betrayal we've seen since Seth Rollins shattered the Shield. But it's what happened after Raw went off air that has WWE insiders truly worried. Solo Sikoa reportedly confronted Tama Tonga backstage. Witnesses claim Solo was livid, demanding answers, asking why they held him back. But Tama didn't yell. He whispered one thing. "This is bigger than you." And walked away. What does that mean? It means the bloodline is now divided. And Solo isn't leading it. He's caught in the middle of a power struggle. A faction that no longer answers to him. And a war he may not survive. Sources also confirm that Jacob Fatu has been contacted. The Samoan werewolf, once rumored to be under contract, might finally be called up to restore order. But will he join Roman, or carve out his own kingdom? That's the burning question. And while all of this explodes backstage, Seth Rollins continues to pour gasoline on the fire. In a post-Raw exclusive, Rollins grinned at the camera and said, "Roman Reigns built his empire on loyalty. We're gonna bury it in betrayal." Then he walked away, laughing. This is where things get serious. Roman Reigns is at a crossroads. His mystique was built on dominance. On silence. On rare, powerful appearances. But silence now looks like fear. And the WWE Universe is starting to turn. Every second he stays away, Paul Heyman grows bolder. Seth Rollins grows louder. The bloodline grows weaker. And Roman's legacy? Begins to rot. Backstage sources say Reigns is furious. Not just at Heyman, but at himself. He trusted the wrong man. Left Solo in charge too soon. Allowed cracks in his dynasty to form. And now? It may be too late. Unless he returns. Not as the calm, distant godfather of SmackDown. But as the furious, vengeful tribal chief hellbent on reclaiming what was stolen. That return would shift the entire WWE landscape. And it might be coming. Because recent leaked booking sheets suggest a surprise appearance is being mapped out, possibly for the final Raw before SummerSlam. Roman may not say a word. But his eyes will say everything. Let's be clear. This isn't a normal storyline. This is WWE's most layered, most emotional, and most dangerous power struggle in years. On one side, Paul Heyman, the turncoat. Seth Rollins, the mastermind. Bronson Reed, the wrecking ball. Braun Breaker, the weaponized future. On the other side, a crumbling bloodline. A silenced tribal chief. And a locker room unsure who to trust. The entire locker room is watching. The fans are watching. The world is watching. And behind the curtain, Roman Reigns is sharpening the sword. Because he knows. Redemption requires blood. And the war is just getting started. While the WWE Universe debates Roman Reigns' return, one man finds himself under unbearable pressure, Solo Sikoa. The enforcer was never meant to lead. He was designed to protect, to destroy, to silence. But ever since Roman's absence, Solo has been forced to wear a crown that doesn't fit. And with every Raw and SmackDown, that crown slips further. The bloodline is no longer united. Solo's faction, once seen as the continuation of Roman's legacy, is starting to fracture at the seams. Tama Tonga. Hikuleo. Tangaloa. Jeff Cobb. 4 dangerous men with their own code of loyalty. Their own blood ties. Their own version of what the bloodline should be. But here's the truth WWE isn't saying out loud. They don't follow Solo. They tolerate him. And last Monday proved it. When Tama Tonga and Hikuleo stopped Solo from rescuing Jey Uso, they exposed more than strategy. They exposed doubt. Doubt in Solo's strength. Doubt in his vision. Doubt in his leadership. Backstage after the show, Solo reportedly tore apart a locker room wall. Staff say he was livid. Furious. Unhinged. He kept asking one question over and over. Why didn't they let me save my brother? But deep down, Solo knows the answer. They don't see him as their tribal chief. They see him as a temporary placeholder. A pawn. And pawns? Get sacrificed. As chaos consumes the bloodline, one name keeps echoing louder and louder. Jacob Fatu. The Samoan werewolf. The loose cannon. The one man who could rival Roman's aura, and burn it all to the ground. Reports from WWE insiders suggest Jacob Fatu has been signed for months, kept in the shadows, protected from overexposure. But now? The leash may finally be off. Because WWE needs him. Badly. Sources claim Heyman is lobbying hard to keep Jacob out of the equation, fearing that even Seth Rollins couldn't control him. But Roman? Roman sees Jacob as the ultimate equalizer. The wild card. The blood-soaked insurance policy who can even the odds when diplomacy fails. But there's a problem. Jacob Fatu doesn't follow anyone. Not Heyman. Not Rollins. Not even Roman. He's not here for politics. He's here for destruction. And if Roman unleashes him, there's no guarantee he'll ever be able to chain him again. The stage is set. The monster waits. And when he arrives, WWE will never be the same. For days, Roman Reigns remained silent. Absent. Off the grid. But then came the leak. An anonymous WWE producer forwarded a screenshot of a private message thread reportedly between Roman and his inner circle. The message was short, explosive, and terrifying. Tell Paul he made the biggest mistake of his life. I'm not coming back to talk. I'm coming back to bury him. The message spread like wildfire. Fans screenshotted it. Podcasters dissected it. Reddit threads exploded with speculation. Was this real? Was Roman really that angry? All signs point to yes. Another message followed. Solo failed. Jey's broken. I built this empire. And now I'm going to watch it burn, and rebuild it with my own hands. This wasn't just anger. This was vengeance. Roman isn't planning a return. He's planning a purge. But before we crown Roman's inevitable comeback, let's ask the most dangerous question of all. What if Paul Heyman planned all of this? Every betrayal. Every fracture. Every insult. What if Heyman wanted Roman to burn it all down? What if the end goal isn't just to destroy Roman Reigns, but to replace him permanently? WWE Creative is reportedly toying with a long-term arc where Heyman attempts to build a new dynasty with Rollins at the helm, not just as champion, but as the face of a post-Bloodline WWE. And if that's true, the betrayal we saw last Monday was only Act 1. Because there's one more piece to the puzzle Heyman may still control. A Roman Reigns heel turn. Think about it. What if Roman returns, only to side with Jacob Fatu and purge everyone, including Solo, including Jey, including the audience's sympathy? What if the true tribal chief embraces the villainy the world always suspected? It wouldn't be a redemption arc. It would be a reign of terror. And Paul Heyman? He'd say, I told you. I never left his side. I just needed to remind him who he is. As the next Raw approaches, the question isn't if Roman Reigns will return. It's how. Will he appear silently in the crowd, watching from the shadows? Will he interrupt a Money in the Bank celebration? Will he arrive backstage and decimate the locker room without saying a word? Or will he wait until Seth Rollins is most vulnerable, and tear him apart in front of the world? Either way, the storm is coming. And when it hits, Heyman's empire will tremble. Rollins' laughter will die. And the Tribal Chief will rise. But what kind of Roman Reigns are we getting? The hero? The tyrant? Or something far more dangerous? This is no longer about championships. It's about identity. It's about betrayal. It's about legacy. Paul Heyman betrayed Roman Reigns on the deepest level possible. Not by turning on him physically, but by weaponizing his own creation. Seth Rollins, once Roman's brother in the Shield, now stands as his public executioner. Jey Uso lies broken. Solo Sikoa is unraveling. And the WWE Universe waits. The bloodline is crumbling. And the man who built it? He's coming to tear it all down. Brick by brick. Blood for blood. And when it's over, only one truth will remain. You don't betray the Tribal Chief. Not without consequences. Not without blood. Not without war. And for Paul Heyman? War is exactly what he's unleashed. 3 days after the chaos on Raw, a dark promo aired online. No music. No WWE branding. Just static, and a camera slowly panning across a concrete warehouse. And then, a voice. Low. Unfiltered. Calm, yet feral. Jacob Fatu. Roman built a kingdom. Paul poisoned it. And now everybody's looking for the next big dog. But you forgot who was bred for war. The screen cuts to black. Then flashes one phrase. The Savage returns. The internet exploded. Hashtag Jacob Fatu trended instantly. Fans speculated whether this was a teaser for SmackDown, SummerSlam, or something more. But those who know Fatu know what that tone meant. This wasn't a promo. It was a warning. He's not here to save Roman. He's not here to avenge the bloodline. He's here to punish everyone who let it fall apart. Especially Paul Heyman. As the days passed, WWE talent became increasingly unsettled. Multiple locker room sources reported that the atmosphere backstage has changed. Fractured. On edge. Paranoid. Because no one knows who Jacob Fatu will strike first. Not even Roman. In fact, according to one backstage official, there's growing belief that Fatu won't align with Roman Reigns at all. He's not a soldier. He's not looking for family. He's looking for vengeance. And for Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, that's a nightmare scenario. Because unlike Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed, Fatu isn't contained by show scripts or faction orders. He operates on instinct. If he walks through the curtain during a Rollins promo. If he shows up backstage while Heyman is holding court. If he storms the ring when Solo Sikoa is left alone. No one can stop him. Not security. Not producers. Not even Roman. Because Jacob Fatu doesn't obey. He hunts. And now, he's hunting those responsible for destroying the bloodline's name. At first, Rollins laughed off the threats. He posted memes mocking Roman Reigns' silence. Retweeted fan art of him sitting on the head of the table throne. He even wore a custom jacket on Raw that read, Undisputed Architect.